Once upon a time, in a rich and calm kingdom, there lived a wise king named Rajan. The people loved Rajan, but he often felt his words were not truly heard. His advisors and subjects listened, but he sensed they didn't really understand him. Troubled by this, King Rajan sought the counsel of Buddha, known for his deep wisdom. King Rajan journeyed to the serene mountains where Buddha lived. After a long, respectful silence, Rajan shared his concern. "Great Buddha, I speak to my people with all my heart, yet I feel they do not listen. How can I make my words more powerful?" Buddha listened quietly, a gentle smile on his face. After a moment, he said, "Sometimes, dear king, silence speaks louder than words." To teach the king, Buddha told him stories with real-life lessons. He spoke of a humble fisherman named Sundeep. Sundeep was known for being quiet. One day, a fierce storm hit the village. All the fishermen panicked, shouting and trying to save their boats. But Sundeep stayed silent and focused. He watched the storm, then calmly moved his boat to a safe spot. When the storm passed, Sundeep's boat was the only one undamaged. The other fishermen, who had been shouting and panicking, realized that Sundeep's calm silence and careful observation had saved him. They began to respect his quiet wisdom. Buddha then told a story about a successful merchant named Ravi. Ravi was known for listening more than he spoke. In business meetings, while others argued and debated, Ravi listened carefully. When he did speak, his words carried weight because they were thoughtful and measured. One day, during a critical negotiation, the other merchants were arguing about prices and terms. Ravi stayed silent, watching and listening. When the time was right, he spoke just a few words that highlighted key points everyone had missed. His silence had allowed him to see the solution clearly, and the deal was made in his favor. King Rajan thought deeply about these stories. Returning to his kingdom, he decided to test Buddha's teaching. During a council meeting, instead of speaking immediately, Rajan stayed silent. He listened to his advisors as they debated a crucial decision about the kingdom's defense. As the discussion grew more heated, the advisors noticed the king's silence. They began to slow down, their voices lowering, seeking his approval. When Rajan finally spoke, his words were few but profound. He highlighted the most important issues and proposed a simple, effective solution. His advisors, struck by the wisdom in his few words, nodded in agreement. Over time, Rajan's subjects and advisors began to see him in a new light. His silence, once seen as indifference, was now recognized as a sign of deep thinking and wisdom. They listened more intently when he spoke, knowing that his words were valuable. One day, Rajan realized the true power of silence. It wasn't just about speaking less, but about listening more, observing carefully, and choosing words with wisdom. Silence had given him authority and respect. King Rajan returned to the mountains to thank Buddha. "You have taught me the power of silence," he said. "Through silence, I have found my voice." Buddha smiled, his eyes twinkling with understanding. "Remember, great king, silence is not the absence of speech, but the presence of thought." King Rajan bowed deeply, his heart full of gratitude. He had learned that sometimes the most powerful words are those left unspoken, and the greatest wisdom comes from listening. Years later, a great crisis hit the kingdom. The people, frightened and confused, gathered before the palace. King Rajan stood before them, silent. The crowd hushed, expecting wise words to calm their fears. Instead, the king raised his hand and pointed to a young girl who had always been quiet but observant. "She will speak," he said. The girl, surprised but calm, stepped forward. Her words, though few, carried the wisdom of one who had listened and observed her entire life. The people listened, amazed at her understanding. Through his silence, Rajan had recognized another silent voice ready to lead. And so the power of silence passed from one generation to the next, a legacy of wisdom that spoke louder than any words. We will end this video with the timeless lessons that we can learn from the wisdom of Gautam Buddha.